film now. All right.
Let's see. What the fuck did I do? I already started this broadcast. All right, no big deal.
Yeah, I saw it say live when I.
I was just clicking around things. I think I clicked start broadcast instead of send invite, and yeah, I don't know. I'm just making boners today. All right, we are back. This is book section number 1. We are going to bring you guys a book we haven't talked about in a little bit in the IVX section here, and that's going to be Weapon X-13. And I was actually going to, I don't know if I even said it to you when you texted to me. You're like, I'm going to do Weapon X-13. I'm like, I'm surprised that book's still going on. I guess I maybe thought to myself. So yeah, I'm like, I don't think there's plans of cancellation or anything, but
actually,
yeah,
it's
Weapon X-13.
It's going on until issue 15, and then it's going to transform into a new title. So it's going to be like an X-Force book or X-Men Black, whichever they choose. Yeah. But it's gonna
every
change.
Time I see this book, I'm just like, man, Old Man Logan is so old and so busy. That poor guy probably sleeps zero.
He's always doing something. Like,
yeah. It's like I got to keep my mind off my kids being dead in the future by just constantly fighting everybody all the time.
Everybody. I mean, right now in X-Men Gold, he's in the negative zone on some distant. Actually, they just came back. That ended. But he was stuck in the negative zone for a while, fighting these negative universe fucking monsters or whatever on this planet, and what else? And then he's in Japan, fucking fighting the Hand and Old Man Logan, and here he is in Santo Marco, fucking living out an 80s action movie. So
he's in Astonishing in Britain or in the mines.
God, that's right. That's right. He's in Astonishing too. Oh my God. Yeah, they're in Britain.
Do you know what? I just figured out X-Men continuity in one talk with you right here, right now. We have just found Jamie Madrox, and he is Old Man Logan. And
that's what it is.
The only explanation for what's going on here.
He didn't die. He had plastic surgery, and he's just split his time between all these different teams.
Yeah. Every time he gets shot, a new one just appears. That's all.
Oh, man. All right. So, Weapon X number 13, written by Greg Peck, art by Yildiray Sinar, with colors by Frank D'Armata, and letters by Virtual Calligraphy's Joe's Caramagna, or that's what it looks like. Caramagna. With an awesome cover by David Nakayama. I really like that cover. So the solicit, here it is. Nuke Clear War, Part 2. Sabretooth and the original Nuke surrounded by the Nuke Platoon. Without Old Man Logan to rein him in, will Sabretooth submit to his darker nature and let loose? And what does this mean for the future of Weapon X? So, here we go. We start off this issue where we left off the last issue of Weapon X, just in case anyone's reading it. The team was in Santa Marco, and they freed all these kids from this military base, this corrupt government military base. And everyone but Sabretooth, right, Sabretooth stayed. Everybody was like, they were grabbing the kids, they were leaving, and they were like, Victor, come on, let's go. And he's like, no, fuck that, I want to have fun. And he's just like running around the base, killing people. And then he ends up like getting cornered, like people just, by all these soldiers, and they just fucking blasting away at him. And he runs into this room, closes the door, and there's another door in front of him, and it just turns out that Nuke, the original Nuke, is there, because they're being attacked by all this army of nukes, this army of guys with American flag tattoos on their faces, and they're all taking the red pills, going all fucking nuts. But the original Nuke is locked away inside the factory where they're making these pills. So, here we are, beginning of this issue. Everybody's out in the woods. They're making sure the kid's safe, distance away from the military base. And then a debate starts. Domino wants to, get the kids further into the mountains and then go back to the base and get Sabretooth back, who was having a lot of fun killing everybody. So, one of the kids, the lead kid, he's not hearing it. He doesn't want to run and hide in the mountains until someone else comes in and starts this mess all over again. He wants to fight and overthrow the government because, they could stop these soldiers, but then it's just going to happen all over again with a different general. So it's the same story. So Lady Deathstrike has some reservations. Domino looks at it as a good reason to rob a bank because, she's Domino. Surprise, surprise. Warpath is totally down, and Logan just wants to do it right, one step at a time. And, first destroy the nuke factory, then worry about the government later. So they start coming up with the plan. And all of a sudden, off in the distance, they see this gigantic fucking explosion. And they're like, what the fuck's going on there? So, turn the page, and we find out what the fuck's going on there. We head over to the base, and Sabretooth's taking out a bunch of soldiers. But he's not alone, because Frank Simpson, the original Nuke, comes walking out of the fire from the explosion, and he's all hopped up on the fucking reds.
Yeah.
The red pills he takes.
This guy's been killed a lot. There's a lot of people that come back that have been killed a lot this week.
Yeah, a lot of people. Well, last time I saw when was
he was in Death of Wolverine. He died again in that.
He was in Rick Remender's Captain America. He didn't die, but he got locked away at the end of that. I think he didn't die.
Yeah,
I read that.
I'm pretty sure he died in Death of Wolverine. Wolverine cut his head off. If I recall. But a lot of people died in that series that have come back very recently. So I don't know if it's something with that whole series. There's like a virus bringing everyone back to life. I don't know, but yeah, that's the last time I remember seeing Nuke.
I think the pills do give him the ability to heal, and I mean he was part of the Weapon X program. Technically, Captain America was part of the Weapon X program because it was the super soldier program. It's just they shift their focus. So like, they had Cap, then they went through a bunch of mutants. Then they decided to do regular people again. They went through a couple of Captain Americas. One of them was a point of focus in Brubaker's Captain America run. And Nuke himself here, he was one of the Weapon X guys. So who knows? Maybe they put him back together. But so they, he runs out of this fucking explosion all hopped up, and he's just firing machine guns like a crazy bastard that he is. And all the fake Nuke soldiers are freaked the fuck out when they see him coming, and they should be because he's fucking pissed. In his mind, they stole his pills. They're disrespecting the American flag, which, if you know anything about Nuke, disrespecting the American flag is a big fucking no-no. So them wearing it on their faces just drives him mad even more. He makes his way to one of the Nuke soldiers and tells him to take it off. Take the fucking American flag tattoo off his face. But the soldier's like, I can't. It's tattooed on. And he just takes out this gigantic fucking Marine knife and starts cutting it off his face.
Yeah. Well, they cut away from him, but all you see is this scream in the panel and Sabretooth laughing.
Laughing like a sick fuck, like all hysterically. He's just this big smile on his face.
Is he still like turned good from Axis, or that's not something like a good guy laughs at, really?
No. Like, he's a good guy, but he's an anti-hero. You know what I mean? Like, he ultimately he likes to do the good thing, but like he still likes to kill people. He's still got that killer instinct, but he only kills bad people now. So that makes him a good guy.
Yeah, so he can laugh at the death of bad people still. That's all right.
Yeah, that's okay. So the rest of the Weapon X team shows up and announces that they're robbing the bank, and it's a distraction. But we know Domino's going to end up keeping some of that money if she can. So we get back to Nuke and shit, and shit's just getting more and more out of control and crazy from here. Bullets flying everywhere, fire everywhere. Deathstrike and Logan meet up with Sabretooth and scold him for letting Nuke out because he's a fucking crazed maniac. Sabretooth just doesn't even give a shit. He resumes his killing spree. She jumps off.
Take the pills already?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. You think he was, but
he's acting like it.
He is. He's just having a great time. Like, he's been so repressed that he's just having like this grand old time. But the pills, like, They give you durability, so like you're gonna get bulletproof. They give you super strength, speed, like all that shit. So they're gonna be what they are times like 10. You know what I mean? Which is really dangerous. So I can't wait for. But anyway, so he resumes killing, and Logan and Deathstrike make their way into the nuke factory. They start to plant the C4 all over the place, so no one can get their hands on it. But not really so fast, because bullets just start flying in at them and they're just getting destroyed. Like, it looks like they're just getting ripped by these bullets. So then we check back in over at the bank with Domino and Warpath. Warpath comes running in to get Domino so they can, support Deathstrike and Wolverine with what they're doing, because that's their main mission. And Domino's a little disappointed because, they just got the safe opened and she wants the fucking money. She's like, what? She's like, no, we finally got the safe open. It's all this gold and shit. I want this gold. Because since the beginning of this, every time they're always deciding what they're going to do or where they're going to go, the first thing she says is like, let's go rob a bank. Like, there's a nice bank here we can rob. But Warpath gets her attention, starts yelling at her, and she gets a little turned on.
I'm more
and they head off to the
Gail Simone Domino series. I don't really like her character in this book, like the 5 or 6 issues I've read about it. Like, it just feels like real corny in one note, because she never has a lot of lines anyway.
She doesn't. She never has a lot of lines. They don't really show her. Like, I've said this in past reviews of Weapon X. They don't show her like using her luck powers that much. I think I've seen it like used once, her probability powers. And she's just always talking about robbing people. And that is how she really is, though. Like, I think it was Cable in the X-Force. Like, the only thing she really cares about is like going on her missions, getting laid, and getting money. Like, that's her personality. Like, that's what she's always got on her mind. But they really just did her a little bit of a disservice in this. They pay more attention to Warpath.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't even really get to say anything. In Deathstrike barely says anything. They focus on Logan and Sabretooth. That's it.
Yeah, they have a lot of like one-liners, like corny one-liners, basically.
Yes, and that's it. Warpath's basically a strong, silent type that always wants to do the right thing and fight injustice, but you only get that by his actions, not really too much by what he says. But he's had a lot to say in the past couple issues. So Warpath gets her attention, and they head off to the factory, and they're kicking ass on the way. She's doing her flips, kicks, and all that shit. And Nuke's going nuts, just shooting everyone, screaming about how the Nuke soldiers are a disgrace to the flag. And Sabretooth plays the devil on his shoulder, whispering in his ear, telling them to forget the flag. They're trying to take his pills away. Which is just the wrong thing. Because I love it. Like, you see him kind of like half of his face is in the shadow over his shoulder.
He's basically a good guy the entire issue until he finds out they're going to blow up these pills.
Yes, and then shit gets fucked up. So then we check in on Logan and Deathstrike, and they're getting shot to shreds. Sabretooth and Nuke come in from behind and just start slicing, shooting their way through all the soldiers. They get to Logan, and Deathstrike and Logan, well, Logan says to Nuke, to Frank, whatever, I don't know what's going on with you, how you got here, but thank you for the help. And he just fucking shoots him in the face like 3 times. Bam, bam, bam. And fucking, so yeah, he shoots him in the face, and he starts screaming about nobody's taking my pills, no more lies, everybody's been lying to me. Warpath comes running in, punches Nuke in the fucking face. Nuke guts him with his marine blade that he cut that guy's face off with. And then Warpath punches him so hard he goes flying through the fucking wall of the building outside in front of the bunch of the rest of the Nuke soldiers. So he's outside, and he tells the Nuke soldiers that the mutants are trying to take the pills. And then he tells them that they've forgotten themselves, and they had a real mission once, and they still wear the flag, and now it's time to earn that fucking flag on their face. And they're all fucking crazy. So they get behind Nuke, and they start running towards the factory, just shooting guns randomly in the air while they're running, because they're just out of their minds. And Warpath is inside the factory, blocking the door, so none of them can get in. All these crazy Nuke soldiers just barreling towards the door. And fucking Nuke just can't get in there. And something about Nuke's blade hurt Warpath in a way that his wound won't heal. So he's getting weak. He's not going to be able to hold that door forever. Domino is wondering what the fuck is going on, where Nuke came from, how the hell they're going to get out of there. Logan and Deathstrike are ready to kill Sabretooth for letting this psychopath out in the first place. And Sabretooth's laughing at the rest of them because he's just kind of crazy and having a great, great time. Because, you know, he's got adamantium bones. He's young still. He's got a healing factor that rapidly heals. He doesn't care. And then he tells them, you know, I don't know what you're all fucking crying about. The solution to our problem is right here. And he grabs a cart full of nuke pills. And then we get a to be continued. So we know that they're all going to start taking these nuke pills and start fucking these nuke soldiers up. So it's going to be a bloodbath next issue.
Yeah.
So I'll say that first that I love Ildure Senar's art. It's really good. He's a good successor to Mark Borstel and Ibrahim Robertson. He delivered some great action scenes and some out of control action scenes, and the colors by Frank D'Amato were great. He always does a good job. He used to work on New Avengers with Bendis. As for the story, it wasn't really an Eisner Award winning issue or anything, but I had a fuck ton of fun reading it. It reminded me of crazy action movies from the 80s, like Commando or Cobra or something that I would see Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger starring in. And you definitely get your money's worth if you just want to have a fun time reading a comic book. You know, you're not looking for something that's going to like change your life or some amazing story. If you just want like a fun, crazy action, this is your book. And it's only going to get crazier as it goes along. I think Greg Pak did a decent job with this after the boring Weapon H saga that, you know, went on for like fucking ever. I think this story is worthy of the title Weapon X. This is what it should be. Just some crazy off the wall fucking action, people dying and getting sliced to pieces. So it was this issue was a buy for me. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I really liked the violence level in it, and it's just like a bonkers fun action story, so I can get behind all that. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I was a little more down on the art than you were. I didn't think it was great. Like there's some pages that like have no backgrounds and stuff, and I like it though. Like it doesn't mean it's bad. It definitely kind of suits the feel of this book, and you know, usually a Weapon X title isn't going to get an A-list art team anyway, but this is. Yeah, it's not like a stylized, crappy type version. You know, like I just hate stylized Marvel books. I feel like that's like an indie thing, and all these characters are easily recognizable, and you know, you don't deal with any of that. So, I can't go higher than Borrow though. Like it is fun, but I wouldn't say everybody go out and get it unless it's a series that you absolutely are still following. You're probably like digging what's coming now, because I don't know how it's been, but like it's finally over and done with all that Weapon H nonsense.
Weapon H crap.
Yeah. Is that book actually coming out? Well, didn't they say they were coming out with a Weapon H book?
It is coming out. It's going to be written by Greg Pak, and the art's going to be done by Corey Smith, who did the Secret Empire X-Men Blue art. So you got a good artist and an okay writer, but yeah, it's coming out.
I just haven't heard anything about it in literally forever, so I didn't know if they shelved it or what. But
I think it's March. March it's coming out. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's March.
Okay.
New Hulk.
But yeah, like it's solid, but it's not knocking my socks off. I would buy other books or try other things before this, but like if I'm in the mood for a solid action adventure, it's a good time.
Yeah, out of all the stuff that I read this week, especially after like reading a bunch of the crappier DC books that are just boring and aimless, like when I came to this, I just had so much fucking fun with it. It was just so refreshing because they put out. I mean, I read everything, and there are so many boring books out there that this just like freshened me up.
I know what you're saying.
So it was like a nice surprise.
Yeah, even like just compared to like this week Avengers title, which we'll talk about in a little bit, like there was so much standing around and just talking, and like, you know, there might be a page of them quickly discussing what their plan is, and then it's just balls to the wall from there on out. Like, you know, the action moves the story forward, and I just like that. That's more of a classic Marvel comic to me than than these people standing around arguing with each other, debating about what to do about an earthquake. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, you can't really fight a fucking earthquake if you're Falcon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Not just an earthquake, but they're trying to figure out how they were going to check on the status of the rest of the world because all the satellites are gone and they don't have any way of seeing what's going on out there.
Yeah. So
but we'll get into that.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna go off to Venom Inc., or it's called officially on Comic Book Roundup, Amazing Spider-Man, Venom Inc., Omega, #1. Even though #1 doesn't appear on the book cover itself, but I think like everything that hits the roundup has to have a number on it just for like, you know, organization's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just call it the Venom Inc. finale. So that's what's coming up right now. And then I'm going to cut in the midpoint facts here because this is just a short one. Otherwise, I can still edit it around. All right, we are back, and this is the midpoint Marvelous Facts, and we're working our way into the second section of books here. So I don't know. There weren't a whole lot of new characters. I didn't feel like talking about Nuke. I think we actually already did Nuke earlier episode anyway. At least I thought we did, so that's why I didn't put him in.
He's not that interesting anyway.
Yeah, he's not great to talk about. And there wasn't really anyone new to discuss in Venom Inc. And we've pretty much talked to death the people of Spirits of Vengeance. So I picked the Black Order and the Lethal Legion to discuss in the facts this week, which both appear in the Avengers book. And Black Order, I mean, they're a little more familiar than the Lethal Legion, but I figure give people that aren't super up to date on Cosmic Marvel a little background on them appearing here in the Avengers title for the first time in a while.
And they're going to be in Infinity War too, the movie.
Yep, yeah, and the bad guys coming up here. That's probably also why they're popping up now conveniently. But Jonathan Hickman, Jerome Pena, and Jim Chung are credited for them popping up in New Avengers Volume 3, #8. I didn't get a year on that, but that was pretty recent history, not that long ago. You can track that down.
2013, I think.
What that was during all the leading up to the 6 months after and Secret
Wars. Yeah.
So yeah, that's where they all came to be. The Black Order is a group of lethal aliens gathered by Thanos in order to help him in his crusade to raise different worlds and force their inhabitants to pay him tribute.
2013.
They're kind of like henchmen. 2013 is our year.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah, so you can hunt that tree down easy enough. They're made up of Black Dwarf, Black Swan, Corvus. I can never pronounce it. Is it Glaive or
Corvus Glaive? Yep.
Is that how you say it? Okay, yep. Glaive. Ebony Maw, Proxima Midnight, and Supergiant. And that's who also appears in the issue this week. So they don't very much there. But death isn't much of an obstacle because a bunch of them have died, even in recent books that have come out since Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Proxima Midnight
Corvus
being pretty much the main culprit. She was killed, or at least for in a state of death, frozen in this amber thing by Thane. At one point, she was killed by Hela, right? Wasn't it in just the Thanos book not that long ago?
Unworthy Thor.
Unworthy Thor. That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah. And then Corvus Glaive was killed by Thanos in like the first issue, first or second issue, first issue.
Yeah, we covered that one on the podcast. So
yeah,
I'm not sure if because Thanos has it tight in with death that they're brought back easily, or it's never even explained or addressed really. So Proxima Midnight's back again. And yeah, that's why I said, death ain't but an obstacle in the way of their return from eventual death. Anyway, so that's the Black Order, and yeah, you guys will get a whole bunch more than I'm sure in this Avengers book, and obviously in the movie coming out in May, right on my birthday. I always take that day off of work because there's always a Marvel movie that comes out on my birthday every year. So Shout out to me. But yeah, now now we'll cover Lethal Legion here. And this is actually the team appearing in the book, from what I found out, according to the wikis, is totally different than anything the Lethal Legion, at least in name, has ever been before.
Yeah.
Roy Thomas, John Buscema, and Tom Palmer are credited with the first group that goes by this name, whose past members first appeared in Avengers number 78, 1970. So back in the day there a little bit. Past members of the team include Living Laser, Power Man 1/Goliath, Swordsman, Black Talon, Ultron, Wonder Man, Tiger Shark. They were assembled by the Grim Reaper basically just for the sole simple fact to defeat the Avengers. Kind of reassembled again later during Dark Reign. The Reaper reformed them with supervillains who had vendettas against Osborn, along with his brother Wonder Man. After they were defeated, it was revealed the Reaper was acting under Osborn's orders in order to make Osborn's Avengers look better than the original, actually. So they were just kind of being schmucks. And the people in that group were Grey Gargoyle, Absorbing Man, Man-Ape, Mr. Hyde, and Necra. So yeah, not really any threatening names there, so you can understand why they were really kind of just the dummies. Although I did click on a picture of Grey Gargoyle, and he looks cool as fuck, so I'll say that. But other than that, I don't know. You got anything to add for either of those groups?
No, nothing. Especially not the Legion. I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't bother to Google the individual names of the team. I assume they were just new characters because I've literally never seen them, heard anybody ever talk about them.
I
thought I read an article
I
saying they were new.
I don't think they are, because when I was reading an article, the person who wrote it seemed to know all about the characters and Captain Glory, the guy who looks like the Ray from DC. So
yeah,
it was weird.
I don't know. Maybe they're pulling one of those things to like characters from a different company they're folding in or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know rights. I don't pay attention to that shit. So, but yeah. So we're gonna move on from the midpoint facts and wrap up with book section number 2, where we got Spirits of Vengeance and then a quick discussion about this week's issue of Avengers. So we'll be right back. All right, I'll send you the last invite here.